Hi, it's time for another verb of the day. Today's verb is gain. Let's take a look at some of the definitions or ways that we use this verb. The first way you might hear gain used is to mean to obtain or secure something. And that something is quite desired or maybe it's favorable. So this verb has a really positive meaning to it. Sometimes, as people get married, other family members will say, "We're gaining a new son," right? Kind of, and again, a positive, exciting, desired sort of situation. A second way the verb gain is used is to mean to increase the amount of something, the value of something, or the rate of something. You should know that gain is a regular verb. To make the progressive tense, all you're going to do is add ing to form gaining. The past tense and participle forms of this verb are made by adding ed. Our base verb, gain, ends in a voiced N sound. So our past tense ending is just going to make a D sound. And we're not adding an extra syllable here. So it should sound like this: gained, gained. Now let's take a moment to look at two phrasal verbs with gain. The first that you might hear is to gain in. This means that someone is achieving or advancing more, and it's usually in relation to some particular quality. Let's take a look at an example sentence to help us understand that. The child has gained in confidence throughout the school year. Right? So confidence, that's the particular quality here, and we're saying sort of greater or an advancement in one's confidence. Second phrasal verb you might hear is gain on. This means to make up the difference, so that you or whoever the subject of our sentence is at an equal level or status as another. Let's look at another example sentence. She is gaining on the leader of the race. So imagine we have a running race going on. There's someone out in front, but now a second person is making up that difference so that they're almost equal at this point in the race. All this week, we've been practicing making more information questions. In most of our videos, we spend a lot of time working on yes and no questions, but it's always good to review how we structure these other questions. So we're going to do a little review of present perfect, and then we'll look at making some example sentences or example questions with our verb of the day. So if I want to ask a more information question or a WH question in the present perfect, my structure works like this. I'm going to start with a question word, then I'm going to have or has, and that's going to depend on what our subject is, and the subject comes next. And finally, it's followed by the participle form of the verb. And there could be other words that follow to help sort of give greater context to the particular question. So I've created this chart, and you can pause the video to practice making a few different questions. I'll do a couple examples here, but the idea is kind of you can mix and match, right? So we could ask maybe, where have you worn a coat, right? I could change my subject and consequently change whether I'm using have or has. So where has she worn a coat, right? To what place is essentially what we're asking there. So now let's use and look at some more example questions using our verb of the day, gain. The first type of question people will ask is about the location. They want to know a place. We use the question word where, W-H-E-R-E, for those particular questions. So, an example here. Where has the politician gained in popularity? So, we know many people who are running for office politicians. They look at where they're doing well. So this might be asking, um, is there a certain region or certain part of the city based on what kind of candidate this is, right? Is it a local office or state level or national even? So you can see our structure there. Question word, has, the politician is the subject, and then we've got our participle form of the verb. If we want to ask a question about time, and this could be time on a clock, this could be time as in a date, you can use the question word when. Here's another example. When have they gained wisdom? Right? So again, we're asking about a particular point in time. Another type of question we ask is the manner in which something is done. We use the question word how for that. Here is an example question. How has the stock market gained so much during the pandemic? This gain is kind of going back to that second definition where we talk about kind of an increase in amount or value. Many times we ask questions to understand the reason behind a particular action. Here's an example. Why has he gained weight? Right? So here, maybe there's an illness, maybe a new medication that is causing this increase. We can ask questions about objects. We call these a determiner. So for that, we're going to use the question word what, and again, follow this same pattern. What has she gained by moving? Right? So here we might be asking about sort of that positive. What's the benefit? Maybe she has a shorter commute. She's able to walk to a park. There's got to be some sort of positive there, and that's what we're asking about with that particular question. Now, there are two other types of questions that have a slightly different pattern. We have another type of determiner question, and we can use the word which for that. When we use which, we're going to use either a noun or noun phrase after it to essentially give someone options or choices as they're selecting. Okay, so if we look at our example here, which area in town, so there's my phrase, has gained a new grocery store. So in this question, right, maybe I'm asking, is it the north, that area, the east part of town, the south part of town? What is it? Where is this particular place? Final way we can ask a question is about the subject, the person who is responsible for a particular action. When we ask this type of question, we use the question word who, W-H-O, and there's no other subject. Who is our question word, and it's our subject in this particular sentence. So maybe a question you might hear a teacher or professor ask, who has gained in knowledge this semester? Right? So we want to know kind of who has increased in that particular quality. Now let's spend just a couple minutes looking at words related to our verb gain. The first word is just the noun form. So same spelling, exact same pronunciation, and like our verb, the noun gain can have a couple different meanings. One is an increase in wealth or an increase in some other resource. An example of this might be, did the business have significant gains during the pandemic? So significant profits, income might be another way to think of that. A second way we can use the noun gain is to refer to a thing that is achieved or something that is acquired. Here's another example. The workouts resulted in big gains, physically and mentally, for the participants. So I think in sort of a slang or informal way, we hear people talk about gains a lot in relation to working out and exercising, and again, kind of connected to the achievements. Are we increasing our strength, our speed, something else? Another related word you might hear is the adjective gainful. This means that it's sort of connected or serving in order to increase someone's wealth or their resources. It can also mean that it's providing money or some other benefit. Many times you're going to see this adjective describing the noun employment. So you can see that in my example here. Has your daughter found gainful employment? Right. So essentially we're asking, has this person found a job that pays them? Another related word is the adverb gainfully. That ly suffix there helps us know this is an adverb. And again, this means producing gains. It can be used to describe an action that is profitable. An example of this: the goal of the program is for students with disabilities to be gainfully employed after high school. So again, this idea of kind of producing gains, producing the ability to have a job and be paid. Thanks so much for watching today's video. I hope you have a great day.